welcome back to another segment of Burnt Coverage Mezcal version. I am your host, Joel.
And I'm El Curtisino.
Sorry. This is our tight end coverage.
The tight end segments where we really start feeling our buzz, especially when we've been drinking mezcal.
Mezcal week. No scotch. Mezcal. Week 6 tight end version. Who do you like to start off, Kurt?
Well, I'm gonna swing low, Sweet Chariot, and I'm gonna go with.
I think that's another musical theater reference, isn't it?
No, that's a biblical reference.
Biblical. The Bible was a musical theater show, wasn't it?
Yeah, Amazing Grace. That's right.
There you go.
All right. So I still don't know anything about musicals. My tight end this week is a low end tight end pick. In fact, so low, he's the lowest in both of our daily leagues that we feature, DraftKings and FanDuel. 2,500 in DraftKings, 4,500 in FanDuel, and that is Tim Wright. Like, where have I heard this name Tim Wright before? Well, you heard it when he was with the Patriots, scoring a bunch of touchdowns, and you heard it when he was with the Bucks, scoring a bunch of touchdowns, and now he's with the Lions, and he's going to be scoring a bunch of touchdowns. He's had obvious success in the past. Only reason you heard of him. And then this week, he is with the Detroit Lions, and he is playing instead of Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron's making a real big push to be back this week. However, he hasn't been that great in his time there. And they just found has also an MCL injury in addition to his hamstring injury. So they'll probably just at least shelf him 1 week, which is your perfect time to play that low-end guy, Tim Wright. We know that they also have another tight end, Pettigrew. And you're like, oh, well, they'll go to Pettigrew. Pettigrew, as a receiving tight end, was never very good. Had one of the lowest yards per catch of any tight end when he was receiving them. He has no break after the catch. He has decent hands, but that's it. Tim Wright actually has performed and had a touchdown last week when he had to step in for Ebron. So here we are. Detroit, who has had no running game and is going to be passing against Chicago, who is not a great defense. They're going to need whatever they can get. And with the focus being on Golden Tate and Calvin Johnson, I think it's going to leave a lot of room in the middle for Tim Wright. I would expect him to get at least the same complement of targets that Ebron got, around the 6 to 7 mark in targets. And just being the cheapest price, I think he's a good roll-the-dice play this week.
No, not at all. The only reason, first of all, Tim Wright has never caught a bunch of touchdowns, as you said, with either New England Patriots or the...
He's actually had a 3-touchdown game with the New England Patriots.
How many did he wind up with that season?
5.
Exactly.
But, I mean, there's another decent tight end on the New England Patriots, too.
The only reason that you have heard of Tim Wright is because he gets traded every other month. And you see it on the scroll on ESPN, they're like, Tim Wright's traded. You're like, who the fuck is Tim Wright? Who the fuck is Tim Wright? Oh, he's traded again. Who the fuck is Tim Wright? Traded again. You know why he's traded? Because he's not very good.
He
knows how to read a playbook, yes, but he's not a very good tight end. That's why he's the cheapest tight end.
He gets traded every week because one time a year he scores 2 or 3 touchdowns in a game. And guess what? This is the week, and you're going to play him.
Really? This is the week that, all right, no. Tim Wright is a terrible play. Tim Wright is a practice squad tight end.
He's not going to be your 0 target, 0 catch tight end, that's for sure. And at the end of the day, if you're looking for somebody cheap to plug in, you're looking at a tight end who is going to get targets. And he's going to get targets in the red zone. And he can make or break your week if you do all the other things right and listen to all my other picks in the other segments.
And most likely he will break your week.
I doubt it. Because at that price, even in a floor of 3 catches for 30 yards, let's say. 3 catches for 30 yards, no touchdowns. That's 6 points. He's already over doubled his DraftKings price.
No, doesn't win you money that way. But if you want to go cheap, you can go cheap with a higher ceiling play. And that is my choice of the week.
What? That's it? Just completely dismissive
What
of Tim
else
Wright.
is to say?
100% dismissive of Tim Wright.
Major Wright? What?
0.0. Tim Wright.
No, he'll get 0.2. 0.2 points.
This is the quickest you've been dismissive of one of my picks. I think.
Because this is roll the music, cue the music. This is the worst pick you've ever made on this show.
Wow, that's certainly saying something.
I know, because you made some really bad picks.
God, I knew I said I'd stop for that. Well played, Joel. Alright, go ahead and do your pick. You deserve it.
Yeah, if I'm all about either. I never usually play the middle grounds on tight ends. I usually go very high or very low. I'm going to give you one of each. So my very low choice is ironically going to be my stack of the week. I'm going to go Zach Ertz, Philadelphia Eagles, Monday Night Football against New York Giants. Zach Ertz we'll get the prices out of the way, he's going for $5,000 on FanDuel, $2,900 on DraftKings. He's that bottom tier. He's not quite as cheap as the god-awful Tim Wright, but you know he's right in that ballpark. So last week he went caught 5 of 7 for 60 yards, his best game of the season. It's not saying much, but this is a guy who suffered a sports hernia injury in week 3 of the preseason. It was either week 3 or week 4 of the preseason. So he's finally rounding into form. Sports hernia, if you don't know, is not a pleasant injury. And it does take quite a bit of time to come back, but Zach Ertz is a very tough man, and he came back very quickly. And I think he's got a new quarterback in Sam Bradford, and he's finally not only rounding into health shape, he's finally developing a rapport with Sam Bradford in the Chip Kelly offense. And the ironic part is last week was his best game of the year. It's not his best game of, those are not Zach Ertz numbers. But the thing is that last week Philadelphia started running 2 tight end sets. Philadelphia never runs 2 tight end sets. That is a base offensive set for most NFL teams, and that is not something the Philadelphia Eagles do. So they've got Selleck and Ertz on the field at the same time, 1 running back. What that does when you run 2 tight end sets, the 12 personnel, is it takes Jordan Matthews off the field. So that's not something the Eagles want to do a lot, but it is something that they had a lot of success with last week. And now they get to face the New York Giants. The New York Giants are giving up the 3rd most points to tight ends this season. And this is the week. This is the Zach Ertz breakout week. That's why I'm making him the stack of the week with Sam Bradford. I'm calling for 100
Wait,
yards.
that stack of the week was New England.
No, this is my stack of the week.
Oh, this is your stack.
This is my stack of the week.
Cool.
I haven't gone to my New England pick. Way to spoil it. But no, I'm calling for Zach Ertz to get 100 yards and a touchdown this week because New York is very susceptible down the middle, down the seam, and Zach Ertz is a huge specimen of a man, and this is the week. Cheap price, make your money.
Yeah, I remember that double tight end set that the Eagles had last week, and Zach Ertz had that touchdown. Oh wait, no, that was Brent Selleck.
It doesn't matter. I mean, but it's still Selleck got the touch. Selleck vultured the touchdown, but Selleck is a blocking tight end at this point in his career, and Ertz is the receiving tight end, and I just think it's going to open things up more now that that is in their playbook.
I don't know. Selleck hasn't done it at all, really. This sounds like some Eagles hot air that is blowing from that side of the couch right here.
Inside.
All I know is Brent Selleck got the
information.
touchdown last week. It's not like a lot of if, ands, or buts here with you.
$2,900 on DraftKings. How much is Tim Wright going for on DraftKings?
$2,500.
$2,500 for $400 more. You're gonna have a Pro Bowl caliber tight end
Well, you can have a tight end who's actually going to get a good amount of targets.
and on a winless team.
Yeah, their defense isn't playing good. They're going to be throwing.
Their
Tim Wright.
defense is playing good. Their offense is playing good. Nothing is playing good in Detroit. Why would you want to play a Detroit player?
Yeah, use that extra $400 somewhere else. Don't spend it on Brent Selleck.
Care to make a wager? Zach Ertz scores more fantasy points than Tim Wright this week?
No, I'll think about it. I'll think about it.
Yeah,
I think it's close. I think it's close. And so by thinking it's close, I think I'd rather spend my extra $400 somewhere else.
$400.
Keep my Tim Wright.
No.
And
Bradford Ertz stack of the week. I'm telling you, cash in.
All right.
After Tim Wright, you can only go up from there.
And I'm gonna go way up. I'm gonna go near the top of the tight end pool and go with Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen, 5,500 in DraftKings, 6,300 in FanDuel. He's been your boomer bust tight end so far this year, so I understand your trepidation. However, playing the Seahawks, and you're like, well, also playing the Seahawks, well, in Seattle, there's no way I can play this guy. I can't play Greg Olsen. However, Seattle is 31st against the tight end. Now, why is that? Let's look at a few reasons. We think of Seattle defense, we think of Richard Sherman, corner, playing the wide receiver. We think of Cam Chancellor, safety, playing in back. We think of Earl Thomas, also another corner. Bobby Wagner, for some reason, is, no offense to Bobby Wagner, but something's wrong. Like, he's getting a lot of tackles and he's letting tight ends just catch the ball. I don't quite understand, because tight ends have been killing Seattle so far. They're rushing the quarterback's getting it out to the tight end, and sometimes it's a questionable at best tight end. Jared Cook, Lance Kendrick did really well in week 1 against Seattle. So we have a great tight end in Greg Olsen. Also coming off the bye, I can see Greg Olsen easily eclipsing the double-digit target mark and maybe the double-digit catch mark. He's had 100-yard games in his career. He's had multi-touchdown games already this season. And really, he's the only good weapon in this offense outside of Cam Newton. And you think about the other people that they have. Funchess, Ted Ginn Jr.
Ted Ginn Jr.
Ted Ginn Jr. Jonathan, I don't know where that was. Jonathan Stewart, Mike Tolbert. These are the names of waiver wire fodder. And then you have Greg Olsen. So for me, and you think about a receiver, a number 1 receiver in an offense and how much they cost. The number 1 receiver in the Panthers is Greg Olsen at 5,500, 6,300 in FanDuel. I think he's a great play.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right in that Olsen is the ultimate boomer bust play. And I think this could be a boom week. Yeah, I wish I could argue the pick. I like the pick. He's not the most expensive tight end, but he's upper echelon. But he's getting the targets. It's only a matter of time before he hits that pay dirt again. And
you know, and thank you for agreeing with me when it would be so easy for you to just argue against after our animosity here.
Nobody's watching this segment at this point.
It's true, yeah. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But you mentioned Edelman, and Edelman's not a sexy pick, but he has a high floor, and I think Greg Olsen this week also has a high floor. But I think his ceiling is also fairly decent, just the way that Seattle's played against the tight end.
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, this is not having anything to do with fantasy, but right before we went to air, we were talking about Bobby Wagner, and so there's a site that says Bobby Wagner. What was the stat?
Oh, on Bobby Wagner
with the most tackles.
Oh yeah, that he gets a lot of tackles, but it's because a lot of people get catches when he's there. Yeah. So he's like, oh, I got him. Like, he doesn't stop the catch, but he's like there to make the tackle. So I also like Gates this week, but I'm not going to cover that. And you know, obviously do your own research on that. Antonio Gates.
Oh,
he's a decent guy, but I think it's the same sort of thing with Greg Olsen. Short passes, he's going to get receptions. Hopefully some of those are in the red zone. He's going to cover for you.
Yeah, he'll put up some points. Yeah. So, you think you can go expensive with tight end? I think I can go even more expensive. I'm going to do the most expensive tight end, and that is none other than Rob Gronkowski. Again on the Tom Brady FU Tour this season. Off the bye. They are in Indianapolis. Rob Gronkowski is going for the astronomical rates of 8,200 on FanDuel and 7,600 on DraftKings. So here's the thing. He's gone 2 straight games without a touchdown. You would have to go back to week 6 of 2011. 2011. We're in the 2015 season. That would be 4 years ago. To find the last time Gronk went 3 games in a row without a touchdown. He's already gone 2. What does that mean? That means he's scoring a touchdown this week. That means the Indianapolis Colts are in for a whole boatload of Gronk pain this week. I would love to say, I've already said Bradford Ertz is my stack of the week. Brady Gronk, play all your Patriots. Play them all. Get as many under that cap that you can, because this is going to be a blowout. And you'll see Brady laughing and Giselle tweeting about how great they all are. It's going to be a blowout. It's going to be epic, biblical proportions, cats and dogs living together.
Mass hysteria.
Yeah, that's what we're in store for with the Patriots-Colts game this week.
Yeah, hard to argue against Gronk. However, I will. What was the price on Gronk?
He's really expensive. 82 on FanDuel and 76 on DraftKings.
So 82 on FanDuel. Greg Olsen is 2,000 less.
Yes.
Also, Greg Olsen's 5,500 in DraftKings, so 2,000 less in DraftKings.
All right, so I'm going to tell you, I'm sorry, yeah.
No.
So a DraftKings strategy that I started employing last week was I'm using Gronk as my flex, and I'm using a very cheap tight end as my actual tight end play. Last week that was Derek Carrier, which paid off for me. So if you think of Gronk as a flex, because he's really a wide receiver at this point at that price, and he's like, you can swallow that price as a wide receiver because he's a top end wide receiver. And then if you can get a touchdown dependent tight end for dirt cheap, in your tight end position, that really evens out and that really gives you a leg up on the rest of the competition.
No, I like the Greg Olsen, Tim Wright. That's a good idea, Joel. I think that's a high-end tight end.
Did I say that?
Yeah, your flex Greg Olsen and then your tight ends Tim Wright. No, that's good. That's good. Cheap tight end and expensive tight ends. I agree with you 100%. See how that works out for me.
Major Wright played defense.
Is Major Wright even in the league anymore?
Yeah, he plays for the Bears still, doesn't he?
Oh man, I don't know who plays for the Bears anymore. Does anybody play for the Bears anymore?
He hasn't been traded as many times as Tim Wright.
All right, well, we'll be right back next week with our Tim Wright coverage.
I will personally update you on Tim Wright's stats next week, rest assured. Good, bad, or most probably bad. And update you on the bet that we had.
I'm going to say great, good, or cover on Tim Wright. And I'm Curtis.
And I'm Joel.
And we hope to see you next week if we haven't scared you away from this segment.
I don't care if I see you.
Bye.